All right, it's time for mock draft 2.0. I have the San Francisco 49ers actually trading up into the top 15 for this particular mock. This is actually going to be the only mock that I do where we have a trade up, and it's purely for selfish reasons. I went up to get a guy that I wanted. I don't necessarily believe the San Francisco 49ers are going to do this, not even close. But I always do these mocks throughout the year. It's a fine balance of what I think the 49ers are going to draft and what I just want to do. And so this particular draft is a what I want to do. And I wanted the San Francisco 49ers to trade up into the top 15 and go and get what I believe could be a generational offensive line talent. And so that's exactly what I did. It's a mock draft 2.0. We're going to go through all the picks. I'm going to give you more kind of context behind the picks. I got a draft crush in here that is developing that I very recently came across and isn't being talked about enough. So we are absolutely going to be talking about that guy that I think could absolutely be on the 49ers radar. And maybe when it's all said and done, could even be on the 49ers radar at 31. We shall see. But we got mock draft 2.0 coming up. All that good stuff. You guys already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're watching for that matter. We see some X comments in here. Let's go. You already know the vibes. Let's get it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, gang? Shout out to all the Sourdough Squad. Hopefully, you guys had a phenomenal weekend. Happy Easter. Spent some time with your families. Did all that good stuff. Little Easter egg hunting. You know the vibes. But today, mock draft 2.0. It's absolutely wild, first of all, that we are in the month of April and I've only done 2 mock drafts. This is unprecedented for me, but it is what it is. That's what happens when you have a long run, I guess, into the Super Bowl. So that's what happens. But we are going to talk about it. And I hate the closer that we get to the draft, the more mocks we get, the more player profiles we get, all that good stuff. But hopefully the SDS, the Sourdough Squad, is doing phenomenal. And speaking of the Sourdough Squad, I got to shout out the gang really quickly. Definitely got to shout out the gang because we have advanced to the championship round of the 49ers Media Madness content creator bracket. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you here really quickly. Good friends over at the Gold Standard Network, shout out Stats and the whole crew over there, put together a bracket for what did we have? We had 64 content creators in this thing. So you can see this pretty robust bracket. I mean, you've got pretty much everyone accounted for who does some form of 49ers content one way or the other accounted for. And we have somehow made it all the way to the championship round against the legendary Eric Crocker. I'm sure you guys already know who Eric Crocker is. He has been a mainstay in the 49ers content creator space. We were just talking about this today. Like, dude, he's been a top 49ers content creator since before, like, even being a 49ers content creator was considered being a 49ers content creator. Like, he's an OG, triple OG when it comes to this content creator gang. Obviously, breaks down DBs. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone really in the entire football space who does it as well as Croc, former NFL DB, AFL DB, baller, legend. So I'm going, and he was the champion last year in this bracket as well. So I'm going up against the reigning champ, Eric Crocker. I can't believe that we've made it this far into the bracket. Um, like, as you can see, I had to get through Matt Mayoko to get to the championship. You guys voted in a landslide victory over Matt Mayoko, the go of 49ers beat reporters, like me. You guys really put the ginger beard in the final over Matt Mayoko. I thought that was wild because I got absolutely fried by Matt Mayoko last year. I think I faced Matt Mayoko in like the Sweet 16. I like made it to the Sweet 16. I'm like, oh, I got a shot. Nope. Matt Mayoko fried my ass. Just absolutely cooked me. Gave me a little bit of piece of humble pie because I was like, oh, I'm a pretty good 49ers content creator. I think I could take on Matt. And he said, nope. I got cooked last year. But to see that, that's absolutely insane. Also, I had to get through Lombardi to get here. I mean, lots of people have lots of opinions about Lombardi. I think Lombardi is absolutely one of the best, if not the best, to do this. He does it. He does really quality work. We took, of course, my mic cuts out. Um, we took down some of the goats of 49ers beat reporters. I was like in the beat reporter gauntlet. I don't even know how that happened. Um, but somehow I got put up against every freaking 49ers beat reporter and some of the dopest ones. Mayoko, Lombardi, Nick Wagner. I think all those guys do phenomenal work. Um, so y'all are crazy, first of all. Y'all are crazy for voting me through this far. Um, I haven't done I haven't spent like a lot of time on this on stream because I didn't feel like I was gonna get this far. But to be up against Croc, and look how close it is right now, 212 to 209. That's crazy. That's crazy. He said stats tried to rig it. Oh my gosh. But hey, man, whatever happens, happens. I feel like a winner already. I mean, I thought I was for sure going down by Matt Mayoko. Somehow, some way, when I first looked at it, I saw that he was in the lead and I was like getting flashbacks. I was like, oh, he's about to cook me again. He's about to cook me again. But man, squad rallied against, I mean, that's crazy. I think Matt Mayoko was in the championship last year against Crocker too. So Crocker had to get past Mayoko to get the championship round. So hey, if you guys want to vote for me, vote for me. But regardless, win, lose, or draw, who knew that like a little bracket challenge could get everyone could get the competitive juices flowing. I feel like that's just one of the things, right? It's like, how do you vote? I'll drop a link in the chat. Um, I think competitive people, like, you drop them in this competitive type situation and it just brings out the competitive nature. Like, I used to play football every day for 15 years. Competing is a part of my DNA. So it's like, oh, cool, a bracket. And then you get dropped in it. And then you're like, oh, I want to win this. But whatever happens. Oh, you guys are dogs. Real-time updates, apparently. We just breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. We just took the lead. We just took the lead by 1 vote. This is the first time I've seen myself in the lead against Eric Crocker. So shout out to you guys who have voted. But shout out Crocky, man. Croc's a legend, dude. Fun story about Crocker, man. Back in the day, dude, I was just some like snotty nosed, like wannabe 49ers content creator trying to figure out like what the heck I was doing. Just started, I'd only had the SF Niners for maybe like a year or something like that. And I linked up with my guy Dylan, who was running, I believe it was 4th and 9 at the time, and I started doing his social media heading into, I think, 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. And they had just brought on Croc. They brought on Sacco, Akash. Who else? They brought on a bunch of guys who'd been like solidified in the Niners space for a while. And I'm just like trying to like figure out like, how do I get involved in this? So I'm literally just doing cut-ups for Croc. I remember sending Croc a whole game cut-up of Akella Witherspoon. And Croc was like, hey man, you clearly know ball. And I just remember him saying that to me. And I was like, oh, thanks, Croc. Thanks for the validation. So shout out Croc, man. Croc's a legend, dude. So even to be in this spot, I'm just having fun. So hey, if you want to vote, appreciate it. I don't know. It's neck and neck, man. We'll see. Croc got a big time loyal following. We know the SDS runs deep. So I do appreciate it. Corey says, hey Brad, what's the best way to reach you for a potential business inquiry? Ooh, my DMs are a landmine. I would say reach out to me on my personal Twitter DM. And if I don't respond in a couple days, like Peacock just got a hold of me today because he commented on one of my tweets that said, check your DMs. And I was like, oh, I need to check my DMs. But I would just reach out via my Graham SFN Twitter, DM me, and I'll try to get to it. I'll try to remember. Shout out to all the SDS who voted. This is a Sourdough Squad award, and I just want to make that clear. It's not just me; it's Sourdough Squad. Like, this is a squad award. I win, we all win. You know the vibes. This is the sourdough. We're gonna have to rename the trophy to the sourdough trophy. Something like that. But all right, let's get into the mock draft though. That's why we're here. So I'm just gonna pull up the mock and we'll walk through it. But let me explain this particular mock. So it's 2.0. Haven't done a bunch of mocks, but this is a selfish mock. This is a mock that glorifies my draft crush. A couple actually. Um, so with this mock, and as you guys have known, if you guys watched or paid attention, I really like Troy Fautanu. Like to the point where Troy Fautanu, the Washington offensive lineman, is currently my favorite draft prospect. And, I hesitated on saying that early just because I hadn't watched a ton of prospects yet. So now, as I've gotten through a good amount of prospects, and I'm still working through a good amount of prospects, I feel confident in saying that Troy Fautanu is my favorite prospect in this class. And I think he will remain at the top. Now, that can change. I could come across a guy and he could sweep me off my feet, and Troy could be left at the altar as I'm walking down the figurative draft aisle with a new draft crush. But as it stands right now, Troy Fautanu is my guy. I freaking love Troy. I've already done individual video breakdowns on him. I've talked about him many times, but this was the mock where I was like, all right, I'm going to trade up. I'm going to get him. Do I think the trade's going to happen? Do I think the 49ers are going to trade up and trade for Troy Fautanu? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to do that. So this was more of a selfish trade. It was more for me just to say, all right, I did a mock. I took Troy. I got the guy that I wanted, and we can move on. So I won't be doing any more trade up. This will be the only mock that I do that has Troy Fautanu in it. That's my guy. I had to go and get him. I used PFF's mock draft simulator for this particular mock draft. So this trade was accepted. I traded pick 31, 95, 176, and 2025 third and fifth for the Colts' 15th overall pick. To me, that's not bad. I think it would probably take a little bit more in real life to actually execute that trade. First of all, I don't know why the Colts would want to trade back to 31. But hey, if they were feeling nice and wanted to help us jump the Seattle Seahawks and get Troy Fautanu and keep him out of the NFC West from an opposing standpoint, bring him onto our squad, then shout out the Colts for hooking us up. Outside of that, I don't see why the hell the Colts will trade back to 31. Outside of that, I don't see why anyone would trade back to 31. So that's why this is definitely a selfish mock. This is just glorifying my own draft crushes. But that being said, we go out, we get Troy Fautanu, we get the dog. We get the dog. This is my guy right here. I really do think, and I've said it before, I believe he can be an all-pro at all 5 spots. Does that mean he's going to play all 5 spots? No. It means that if you theoretically were a general manager and you were in the process of building out a roster and you see this guy, you could theoretically carve out a role for him at left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, or right tackle, depending on what your team needs and what you're looking for. This guy is, I'm super close to calling him a unicorn. And there's one unicorn that I reference all the time, and that's Trent Williams. And he would be a unicorn for different purposes, and different reasons than Trent. But it's the combination of athleticism, physicality, technique, movement ability, feet base, all of it. This dude is a freaking dog. Whoever gets Troy Fautanu is going to be a lucky person, man. I think they're going to get a guy who not just in this class, could be the best offensive lineman in this class. I think he could be one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. Like, I don't think that's a stretch because he, as you can tell, the man crush is strong with this one. But that's why I have the 49ers trading up. I don't think it happens. I doubt any team wants to even trade down. But if John Lynch, if he gets that itch to move up in the draft and take someone, then man, take Troy Fautanu, dude. Take Troy Fautanu, make me happy. And again, where would he play? Right tackle, right guard, center. Probably from a 49ers perspective, it would make most sense to play him at right tackle. Because especially if you're going to have him replace Trent when Trent retires, it would make most sense to keep him at tackle so he can still play on an island. Obviously, he would have to switch sides, but he would be able to switch back. I don't think that would be a problem at all. So Troy, for me, a little bit of a unicorn, bit of a guy that I would like. Donald Johnson said, Brad, a unicorn in Niners channels. I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless. So you get me Troy. You make this ginger beard a very happy person. Like I said, he could play wherever. Literally, he could play wherever. So whatever happens, happens. I don't know if the 49ers are going to do it, but I would love to do it. My guy says, Brad, what do you think about Michael Hull Jr.? I've actually done Michael Hull tape study. I did Michael Hull tape study which actually led me to another draft pick that I took in this mock. So watching Michael Hull, I actually was watching this other guy that I ended up drafting in this mock that he was going against. But Michael Hull is good. I would actually have him kind of in he would definitely be in the top 5 of defensive tackle prospects. But I am very intrigued by the defensive tackle that I took in this mock. And I took my guy, Ruke Orhorhoro. That's right. His name's so nice. Say it 3 times. His parents saw his name and they said, you know what? We're going to mess with Brad because we're going to force him to pronounce that name. Ruke Orhorhoro. Ruke Orhorhoro. 3 rows. This is a guy I have not heard anyone talk about. I saw his name in the mock draft simulator. I was like, I don't even remember seeing his name in the simulator. I haven't seen anyone tweet about him, haven't seen any breakdowns on him. And so I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole. And after going through this rabbit hole, you realize that Ruke is 6'4", 294 pounds, runs a 4.89 40, which has him in the 90th percentile. His 10-yard split is at 1.67, 90th percentile. His vertical is 32, 82 percentile, but his broad jump at 116 is in the 97th percentile. This dude's a freak athlete. And not only is he a freak athlete, I love his background. He is a late bloomer in the sense of this guy didn't start playing football until he was a junior in high school. Prior, he was a basketball player, so he has a basketball background. And then he transitioned into football, was a defensive end, and then he is going to continue to transition inside to play defensive tackle. So he's raw, but he is freaking athletic. He's strong. He's very, very impressive. If he's available at 63, which I'm starting to even think he won't be, because I'm just starting to, you look at the numbers, you look at how he tests, you look at his size, then you match it up with the tape and you match it up with some of the production, and you're like, oh, I don't know if he will be there at 63. I mean, 84 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, and 11 and a half sacks, 9 pass deflections in 3 seasons with Clemson as a tweener, developing edge to basically going from edge all the way down to zero tech. This dude can play nose. He can play 3 tech over the guard. So for me, I'm thinking like we have to replace Eric Armstead. I don't feel uh I don't feel at all that the 49ers are in a good spot right now with what they have. With obviously they're good with Hargrave, but outside of Hargrave, Malik Collins, Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens, I think they're all rotational guys. I think they can have a role on this defensive line. I don't think they're an anchor. I don't think they're an anchor like Eric Armstead was. So for me, if the 49ers can get a defensive tackle that can fill that Eric Armstead role, can be an anchor and be disruptive from the interior, but also possesses multiple kind of skill sets where even in a pinch, he could rush outside the tackle as well. But he's gonna live on the interior, in my opinion. Dude is, I think he still has room to grow. So if the 49ers could snatch him, put him on the get him in that defensive line rotation, obviously start him as a rotational guy, but develop him into a mainstay starter. His traits, his skill set, this is the type of guy where you kind of take a bet on and see how he works. I mean, his run fits, his ability to overpower offensive linemen in the pass rushing game. This guy, I still need to do more work. I'm not done with him. Like I said, I just came across him a couple days ago, but already the arrow is pointing up on Ruke Orhorhoro. And he has a phenomenal name. Could you imagine all of Levi's stadium if we like figured out a coordinated chant? Ruke, oh, row, something. I don't know. You get the whole state. The Ruke. We can make it work. I don't know. I like it. I like this guy. So that was my second pick at 63. Obviously, we move on to the next pick. And again, I traded pick 95. So 95 is gone in this mock. So we go to pick 124. And this is another guy that I don't see anyone talking about. And that is Boston College cornerback Elijah Jones, 6'2", so has some length to him. And he really stood out to me in some of these coverage reps. You just see his ability to sit in the hip pocket, and make a play on the ball. Not only that, is he's 6'2", so he's already a long corner. With so 6'2" would have him in the 92nd percentile in this particular draft class. Well, guess what? Take the length of being 62 and then put him in the 99th percentile in regards to vertical, meaning this guy had the highest vertical out of anyone at the combine, and also in broad jump was 94th percentile. I think that he also will excel in zone, which the 49ers typically like to run a little off coverage. I think he can also play well in man. People are knocking him for his press man coverage just for being a little light. He's about 185, but I think his frame suggests he could add about 10 pounds of muscle, not lose any speed, not lose any hop. And this is a guy that I think would actually fit really well on the outside. You can see how sticky he is in coverage, gets his head around, stays in that hip pocket, doesn't allow the wide receiver to get loose, even kind of in giving the inside away, he's still able to undercut their wide receiver and pick off that pass. So I like this guy. This is another guy that I think we need to do a little bit more. I need to do a little bit more work on, but so far, Boston cornerback Elijah Jones. I think we need to hear. No one's talking about this guy, so this is a guy that I definitely like right here and could definitely be a quality option for the 49ers if they are looking for a kind of mid-round cornerback. So that's a name. Another guy who I think many of you probably already know about is the linebacker Cedric Gray out of North Carolina. I got the opportunity to talk to him at the combine, and impressive young man. And just in regards to how he speaks, I thought one of the cool stories was he actually was an offensive player, but North Carolina was the only Power 5 school to recruit him, and they recruited him as a linebacker. So he said, I don't care where I play. He said his number one goal was to play Power 5 ball. And so he said, he wanted to play offense, but he said, I'm going to go to North Carolina to play off ball linebacker. Dude's a stud. Like most of you guys already know who this guy is, so I don't need to say all that much. But great size, 6'2", 234 pounds, runs a 4.6 40, still has him in the 70th percentile of all tested draft prospects. He's just a great athlete. And again, like I said, he was an offensive guy, but North Carolina was the only school that recruited him as a linebacker, and he's got the athletic traits to show for it. Very explosive, sideline to sidelines, phenomenal, and he's also great at shooting gaps and also even getting after the quarterback. Over in I think it was in 2023, he had 21 total pressures, 9 quarterback hurries, 7 quarterback hits, and 5 sacks. So that's pretty good in a season that also consisted of 80 tackles and 54 stops. So I think coverage he can even survive as well. I think where he does show a little bit of weaknesses, maybe some missed tackles here or there, shedding some blocks at times, can maybe over pursue. But outside of that, I mean, this guy is absolutely an ascending prospect. So if you could get him in this round, and again, we know the 49ers, Drake Greenlaw, we don't know what the future holds with him with the Achilles. So that frees them up to make some additional moves. Obviously, they bring in Devondre Campbell. They bring back Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. You have guys on the roster already that you drafted last year in D. Winters and Jalen Graham. All right, bring him in. Let them compete. Let these boys compete. And we know that the 49ers typically like to run 5 linebackers for special teams as well. So, I mean, Drake Greenlaw is going to start the year likely on IR. So you need some more linebackers. And if you can get this guy, that would be quite the steal, if you ask me. So this was the guy that I was watching. I did my tape study on Michael Hall about 2 weeks ago. And I came across Trevor Keegan. I just like his vibe. He's definitely he's more of like a he's more of a, if I had to compare him to like a body type of someone on the 49ers, he's more like a Feliciano. You know, he's a bigger kind of mauler. He's not like where like I took Troy. Troy's a mauler, but dude is pure finesse. Like feet, base, bend, moves, all of it. Troy is in a completely different category. But what I like about Trevor, one, his energy popped off the tape to me. And two, he's consistently does his job pretty damn well in the grand scheme of playing offensive line. And I do see a world where he could play center as well, and could even be maybe where he fits best. So he was there. This was pick 135. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him here. Trevor Keegan out of Michigan. And again, I came across him watching Michael Hall versus Ohio State. I then went back. I watched both Keegan and Zach Zinter, the other guard, the right guard. I came away liking Trevor just a little bit more than Zach Zinter. They're actually both pretty comparable. I'm not going to lie. But I came away liking Trevor. Trevor has this nastiness to him. You know, you talk about offensive linemen, you talk about bull or cow. Trevor has the bull tendencies. You see, he's got full arm tats. He has that aggressive nature as in the offensive lineman, and I like that. I want that in my offensive lineman. I like my offensive lineman to be nasty. So he gets the nod over Zinter just a little bit because of the nastiness factor. But I think, hey, the 49ers want to target a mid-round guard. I think he definitely has some potential and could definitely immediately compete for being the swing interior offensive lineman. He could play. You would definitely have to get him at center. I wouldn't just have him as a primary guard. I would want him playing both positions and just see how he fits. And if he could beat out Ben Barch, if he could beat out Nick Zakel, if he could beat out one of those guys, that would be his best shot at landing on the roster. This is another guy that I came across that I really like. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller just because YouTube is weird with certain football highlights when it's from the broadcast. Hopefully I don't get clapped. So just be aware that hopefully me making it small will help. Little nervous. Remember back in the day, I would try to hop on here and we'd try to show some draft highlights, and YouTube would kick my ass off the stream. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But with this particular guy, Joshua Cephas, mad underrated. I got him in the 6th round, pick 211. I like this guy. He got up to 20 miles an hour on multiple occasions on plays like this. So he has the ability to kind of get up there in speed. He's definitely not super, I wouldn't call him like super twitchy, like, but obviously, as you can see, he can make plays after the catch. Um, but he is definitely an intriguing prospect that I think with some time could be a guy that sticks around the NFL for a long time. He's 6'2", 185 pounds at a UTSA. Again, he didn't test very well. He ran a 4.62 40. And before anyone freaks out, just a reminder that Keenan Allen ran a 4.71. So I'm just going to put it out there. Not at all comparing him to Keenan Allen. I'm just simply stating the things that are the facts. So I don't look at a 40 time and immediately knock the guy out. He definitely didn't test well in regards to stacking him up against the other wide receivers. He'd definitely be kind of, most of his numbers are hanging around like the 15th percentile, which is not that great. But I do think he has extremely strong hands. He seemingly comes down with everything that's thrown at him. And he's been a producer. Last year in 2023, played in 12 games, had 82 catches, over 1,000 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns. And the year prior had 86 catches for 973 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then so he's a 5th-year senior. So in his true junior season, he had 72 catches for 799 yards and 6 touchdowns. So he just produces. He just produces. He's definitely a developmental guy. Again, I think part of it is going to be just simply because he tests his test scores weren't great at all. But I think if you go back to other guys who didn't test well, Puka Nacua that didn't test well. In fact, they are very similar in regards to their numbers and how they tested. So that's why I don't, it's always nice to point out when someone tests well at something, but also when they don't test well, I think it's also important to point to the prospects that have had success not testing well. This guy is very close and similar in testing to Puka Nacua, and we saw what Puka Nacua did last year. Not saying he is Puka Nacua, but just for comparison's sakes, that's out there. But he's the guy that I like. He's the guy I want to do more work on. First impression, really like what I've seen. And if you could get him as a late round pick, I'll take it. I'll take it as well. And then to round out the final 2 picks, I had the 49ers taking a safety. What stood out to me about Omar Brown from Nebraska was he kind of plays with like this fearlessness. I think we've seen safeties, especially who've worn 49ers red and gold before, just come downhill and just lay a shoulder into guys and just play with that fearlessness to their game. And I really think he could be a guy that, definitely is going to have to fight for a roster spot come in, fight for a depth spot. Most likely would be a practice squad guy. But hey, you need some safety depth, so you fill a hole here with Omar Brown. And then another kind of developmental guy who likely is going to be a practice squad guy would be Edge Cedric Johnson with the 251st pick in the 7th round. He tests extremely well. So you're kind of betting on the traits and the physical tools. You can see him beat Tyler Guyton right here to the inside. Many believe Tyler Guyton is a first round lock at tackle. So you can see he has some quality skills, some physical traits, and I think he's a guy that could absolutely, hey, turn into a player. But again, we're at the end of the draft, so you're just picking and praying. And hey, last time the 49ers did that in the 7th round, they landed Brock Purdy. So I think it worked out pretty well for them. So, like I said, mock draft 2.0. The star of this mock, I would say, are the first 2 picks, Troy Fautanu and Ruke. Those guys would be phenomenal day one starters, in my opinion. And I think that would be great. Do I think it's going to happen? Not necessarily, but I think it could happen. I see someone in the chat asking me about James Williams. I've actually not watched James Williams, but in a quick search, James Williams appears to be a linebacker out of Miami, 6'4", 231 pounds. On this particular draft site that I use, he is ranked as the 9th linebacker, former 5-star recruit, according to 247 Sports. It's good size, runs decently, crazy long wingspan. He had 73 tackles last year, 48 total, 2 forced fumbles. He was a junior coming out of Miami. Oh, here it is. Here it is. He is a converted safety. Oh, boy. Put him on the 49ers board instantly. I just saw that. It says, in preparation for the NFL draft, Williams has transitioned from playing safety to linebacker, a more reflective of his versatile skill set and the evolving needs of NFL defenses. He's definitely on the 49ers radar. If he's a converted safety, he is definitely on their radar. I feel I don't feel like there is like a position like archetype more specific to the 49ers than them taking converted safeties and making them excel at linebacker. I believe Dre Greenlaw was a converted safety. Fred Warner was like a hybrid safety. Demetrius Flanagan Fowles was a converted safety. Jalen Graham was a converted safety, if I'm not mistaken. So they love converted safeties at linebackers. So yeah, definitely not surprised. So I'll do my work on him. You're actually not the first person to bring his name up. So I'll do a little bit more work on him. See how that all goes. and see what we get. See what we get out of that. But yeah, man. Mock draft 2.0. We're in April. And only my second mock draft of the year. Wow. Crazy. If the 49ers had got bounced out of the playoffs, I'd probably be on mock draft 17 or something like that. But it is what it is. We have 1 month until the NFL draft. So we are definitely transitioning into a lot more draft content. So we'll keep coming with draft content, keep doing film breakdowns, keep doing player profiles, all those different types of things. And we'll keep it cooking. Shout out to everyone again who voted for me. Oh snap. We've taken a bit of a lead since we got on live. Taking a bit of lead. We were behind when we hopped on originally, but we're getting up there a little bit. So if you want to go vote, drop the link in the chat. I think it'd be cool to win this. I beat the defending champ. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Shout out to everyone who voted. Shout out to SDS. Appreciate everyone for tapping in. We got about a solid month left. Solid month, draft, OTAs. Then we take a nice long break for the summer. The real summer break hits. But I appreciate everyone, as always, for tapping in. Smash that like button on your way out. Appreciate y'all. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to